Look who's back from the House GOP Doctors Caucus. He's Congressman Michael Burgess. Congressman, it's great to have you on, sir. Let's please first get your reaction to Michigan Governor Democrat Gretchen Whitmer. She's now saying her lockdowns were a bad thing. Watch this.
There were moments where we, had to make some decisions that, in retrospect, don't make a lot of sense, right? If you went into the hardware store, you could go in the hardware store, but we didn't want people, all congregating around the gardening supplies. People said, oh, she's outlawed seeds. It was February in Michigan. No one was planting anyway. But that being said, some of those policies, I look back and think, that what maybe was a little more than we needed to do.
Outlawing seeds? Congressman, she was so adamant about that. People were threatened with fines and penalties. Thousands of families and small businesses were hurt by her lockdowns, and now she said, oh, I was wrong?
Yeah, well, number one, I'm glad she admits it now. It's late, and we're in the third year of this sequence, and would have been great for people to have a little bit of humility at the beginning when, in fact, we didn't know. No one knew all the answers. And looking back on it now, you can identify, oh, sure, that was probably way too much. Have some humility when you're making these decisions, and acknowledge that you're making the best decision you can with the information at hand, and it may be subject to revision in the future. But once they started down that path of lockdowns and shutdowns, there was no going back, and no one would admit that that was not a good course.
Dr. Fauci, let's move on to this. Dr. Fauci is lashing out at people like Elon Musk, saying he should be prosecuted. Critics say he committed perjury before Congress when he said the NIH has never funded, NIAID also never funded dangerous supervirus research called gain-of-function research at the Wuhan lab in China. But CBS News has obtained 50,000 government documents that appear to show, the U.S. government may have paid twice, may have paid double for these projects in Wuhan, China, through the NIH. What do you think of all this?
Well, clearly that needs to be looked at. That's one of the things that will be incorporated into the investigation. But, once again, I would say that people, as they approach these types of problems, and we will have big problems again in the future of some nature, but as you approach a novel big problem, have some humility about the way you approach it. And these declaratory statements that it just only can be one way clearly will come back to haunt you when you find out what there was different.
Yeah, the Washington Post reported that they funded it, NIH funded supervirus research in China, in Wuhan lab. Shouldn't the president just say, I'm going to declassify the evidence on whether the pandemic leaked out of China? Look at Senator Josh Hawley going after China on this.
Well,
what do you think, Congressman?
The president has the power to declassify anything that he wishes. Goodness knows we've all become experts on classification and declassification the last several months. But the president could declassify these documents tomorrow morning if he wanted to. Now he's got a unanimous vote in the Senate, unanimous vote in the House to declassify, for the Director of National Intelligence to declassify these documents, and for heaven's sakes, do it and get on with it. And because, the bottom line, a lot of people were hurt very badly by the actions of the Chinese government, and they deserve the opportunity to know that for themselves.
Congressman Burgess, thanks for joining us tonight. It's good to see you.
Thank you.